Hello and welcome to today's discussion. Our topic is an interesting one, outlining, which I call the DNA of your composition. For every building you see in the world, there is a plan that happens first in the head, and then that plan is realized in reality. So you have a big house or a big building. In the same way, outlining is the DNA or the blueprint of your composition, your AC. And that's what we're going to discuss today, briefly though. So if it is the DNA of your composition, then it means you need to have a plan. The plan should be whatever you intend to write as your composition. You have some questions. For example, what is the composition about? What do you want to write about? So you need to have that idea down. And then, what major topics does it comprise? So just like a building, which is a big structure, it has many parts. It has pillars, it has rooms, it has a roofing sheet, it has a foundation. You need to know the major parts of what you want to write about. And then, of course, you have the introduction, you have the body, and you have the conclusion. So you need to have a plan. And an outline could be used to write. It can also be used as a blueprint of your speech, whatever the case is. You can play both roles successfully. Now we have two main types of outline. We have the topical outline, and it is called topical because it deals only with the topics or the idea that a composition comprises, and it's usually brief and put just in phrases or sometimes in clauses, not full-blown sentences. So the topical outline has ideas put in brief and in phrases, topics. Then we have the sentential outline, and as its name denotes, the sentential outline is put out in full-blown sentences. Full-blown sentences. What it means is that anything that you see topical could be a matter of choice, and someone else could go sentential. So a topical outline could be written out in full-blown sentences, and then it becomes a sentential one. The choice is yours. But it just so happened that most people prefer the topical outline to the sentential one. I prefer the topical to the sentential because the outline, of course, is the skeleton of the entire piece of writing or your speech. DNA or a blueprint. Now, what are some features of the outline? It has a format. The outline must have a heading. Since it's going to be your speech or your composition, whatever the case is, the outline needs a heading. Someone else could look at your outline and be able to tell right away that this outline is about something specific. So just as your composition itself has a heading, the outline must have a heading. And the points must be numbered. We have a numbering system. Many people use different kinds of numbering system. All you need to do is to be consistent in your numbering system as regards your outlining. And when we look at an example of an outline, we're going to see how the numbering is done. There are various kinds of numbering. Some choose some particular forms of number for the major points, another type for the minor point, and yet another for the sub-minor point, if there is any. But there is no hard and fast rule about this numbering system. You just have to be consistent to use one for your topic sentences, one for your major point, and one for your minor point. We're going to look at an example to show that. And then, of course, your outline should have a thesis statement. And just as we discussed earlier, that thesis statement controls the entire composition, usually found in the the introductory paragraph. Of course, your outline, the introduction, which is the first paragraph of your outline, should contain the thesis statement, the most powerful sentence that controls the entire passage. In other words, the entire passage is about that sentence. And then, of course, in the individual paragraphs, we have the topic sentences, which also go to support the thesis statement. And we have the major and the minor points. So, you must have a heading, a numbering system, thesis statement, topic sentences, major and minor points as part of your outline, as part of your building block for your talk, your speech, or your composition. Now, when it comes to the point, the numbering, you have to remember indentation of the points is very important. So, the topic sentences stand out at the far left. So, the most important point, the most powerful, will be at the far left. And then because the major points are supporting the topic sentences in your outline, they should be a little bit indented, one step to the right. So they will be away from the topic sentences, one step to the right. It could be 2 steps. You just have to be clear that the major support points are not in the same line with the topic sentences in your outline. And then we come to the minor point that indented one step from major point. So that's it. And each point of equal strength form a straight vertical line. It should be form actually, sorry. So each point of equal strength forms a straight vertical line, each point. So that if you look at major supporting points, you see them in a straight line. And then if we have minor supporting point, also in a straight line. And then of course the topic sentences also in a straight line. But the topic sentence to the minor supporting points will form a diagonal line because of the indentation. So indentation is very important in outlining. Of course, it even helps you to be able to tell which point falls under which one. So the format, the beauty also matters much as the content is important. The format of your outline is important. So we want to move on to an example of an outline. An example. And of course, we learned that every outline should have a heading. So let's say that the heading for this outline is the true friend. The true friend. So you know the outline is about a true friend. And then you have your introduction. You have your introduction. And your introduction comes up with 3 main points, which are: life is impossible without a true friend. Remember, this example is a topical example, a topical outline. So life impossible without a true friend. Of course, it's not a sentence, topic. That is one point. Fact supported by science. And then you want to come to the third point, which is the focus actually. Qualities of a good friend. And these qualities are listed in minor points: selflessness, truthfulness, forgiveness. Selflessness, truthfulness, forgiveness. We want to take note that every point to be discussed in the entire outline is introduced in the introductory paragraph, which means that by means of the introductory paragraph, a reader or anybody could tell that the whole composition, the whole speech would be about the qualities of a good friend, specifically selflessness, truthfulness, and forgiveness. So, just as we have the thesis statement in the introductory paragraph. So do we have the thesis statement in the introductory paragraph of your outline. So it means that the thesis statement, though not straightforward, will be qualities of a good friend, which are selflessness, truthfulness, and forgiveness. So you could see the true friend title, the introduction. We have introduction. This is the topic one, the introduction. Under the introduction, we have all these things. And then we have the qualities of a good friend, and specifically outlined as selflessness, truthfulness, and forgiveness. So what it means is that we know the entire composition, the entire outline would be about these key points: selflessness, truthfulness, and forgiveness. And the next paragraph will definitely begin with selflessness, because it has been introduced in the introductory paragraph as one of the main things to be found in the body. So this is introducing the body for us. So now we move on. So we take what? The qualities. Now we have begun with must be selfless. A true friend, as we see from the heading, must be selfless. And then the selflessness is broken down into what? Some major point. Let's go to the topic sentence. Some major points. Ready to forgive. Forgive me. Ready to share. Ready to share. And for the ready to share, it is further broken down. Maybe share food, share time, share resources. So this is a topic sentence. Let's take it like that, even though it's just topical. The topic is here, must be selfless. And then we have one major point, should be ready to share. And we have minor point, maybe food, maybe time, maybe resources, becoming minor points to support the major point, ready to share. And then we have another second major point supporting this topic, must be a team player. A team player. That the writer chooses not to have any minor point. Someone else could choose to have a minor point. It depends upon the individual. Just like you want to build a house and you want to choose a plan for yourself, it's the same with your outline. You choose what you want to say, what you want to write. Except that you are drawing the outline from an already existing document. If there is a minor point in that document, it has to appear in your outline. But if the outline is for a composition of your own, you choose what you want to put into it. So a team player, another major point with no minor point. A caring person, another major point. So you could see that the first quality of a good friend, that he must be selfless, he or she must be selfless, I should say, is expanded with three major points. It could be 2, it could be 4, it could be 6, whatever the case is. And then we have, in the first major point, we have 3 minor points. So the first topic is expanded. So suppose you are giving a speech, once you see that the person must be ready to share, you can talk and talk and talk. You can expand it. Go to food, expand. Go to time, expand. Go to resources, expand. It's the same with writing. A team player, yes, you can expand that. A caring person, the same way. So we are done with the first main topic of the qualities of a good friend being must be selfless or selflessness. Then we come to the second, which is now the third paragraph, the third topic. So the topic here is that must be truthful. We saw that truthfulness is one of the qualities. So a true friend must be truthful. And then under this we have 3 major points. Major point A, B, and C. And then we have minor points that way. So you could see that must be truthful has major point A, tell the truth always, as one major point supporting this topic. The second one, commend genuinely. Must be able to commend people genuinely. And then under this we have a minor point, no envy, should display no envy, should wish others well. Being minor points supporting this major point that intends supports the topic. And then should criticize truthfully. Should criticize truthfully. And then under that major point we have the minor point, not afraid to criticize. You know, some people are afraid to say the right thing. And then not overly critical. So should be a balanced person. Not afraid to criticize, not overly critical. Being minor points to support this. Now, so far what we must note is that we can see that right from the beginning, the topic sentences are captured in the Arabic numerals, the common 1, 2, 3. The common 1, 2, 3, the Arabic numerals. So we have 1. So I chose to put my topics in the Arabic numeral, so 1, 1. And then I choose to put my major points into the capital font of the alphabet, the Roman alphabet. So we have a capital A, capital B, capital C for the main point or the major point. And I chose to use the lower case of the alphabet for the minor points. It is all a question of consistency. Other outlines you may see someone using the upper case of the alphabet for the topics and using the Arabic numerals for the major point. Whatever the case, you just have to be consistent. I chose to use the Arabic numerals for the topics, the upper case of the alphabet, the Roman alphabet for the major point, and then the lower case for the minor points. Consistency is key when it comes to the numbering of your outline, and all depends on you. So we saw this one, which is the second topic under the qualities of a good friend, well expanded. And then we're going to move on to the third one. The third topic of qualities of a good friend. And this is must be forgiving. And it is further expanded into 3 major supporting points. A little indented. You could see the 4. There's the line, but this one is a little inside. So the first major point must not be resentful. Must not be resentful. Must not be resentful. Supporting must be forgiving. Must not forgive, must forgive and forget. Forgive me. Must forgive and forget. Supporting must be forgiving and must be willing to have a peace talk. So these major points have expanded or thrown more light on the third topic of the outline, the true friend. And this happened to be the final paragraph itemizing the topics or the 3 specific qualities of a good friend this composition, this outline seeks to expose. So if we go back, the first is that must be selfless. The second must be truthful, all expanded. The third must be forgiving. We are now done with all the points raised in the introductory paragraph of the outline. So what do we do? Just as if you're writing or speaking, you have a conclusion, the outline has a conclusion too, much as it has an introduction. For every beginning there is an end, isn't it? So, conclusion. Now, a conclusion should have a note of finality, and usually the conclusion itemizes the ideas discussed in the passage, in the body, even as it is introduced in the introduction. But of course, it'd be fine for the sake of variety. Those ideas could be restated in another way, but it carries the same concept or the same idea, so that it wouldn't be like dropping the ideas as they were verbatim, how they were introduced in the introductory paragraph. They can be couched in a different form altogether. So, conclusion. The major point A says 3 qualities of a true friend discussed. So you are showing that you've discussed so far 3 qualities of a true friend. And then you want to capture them. 3 qualities of a true friend must not be selfish. Remember that in the introduction we said, what? Selflessness. But this has been turned in another way, must not be selfish. If you are selfish, you are not selfish. So the same point, but rearranged differently when it comes to language use. Must not be a liar. Of course, it's saying the same concept of must be truthful. Must not be unforgiving. The same concept of must be forgiven. And then the conclusion has a note of finality. After discussing all of this, the question comes, what do you do? And that answer is provided in the last topic, must do all to keep such a friend. So there's a note of finality. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just an example of an outline. And that is why you see very good public speakers, you are able to wonder how they are able to maintain eye contact as they speak to you. What they have in front of them usually is not everything written word for word, but an outline. So that they look down for a few minutes, a few seconds I should say, and they raise their head and they're able to speak. It is the same way that if you have an outline like this and you are writing a composition and you go back to the first point, once you take a point, you just write. You expand the point and you'll be able to give a successful speech or write a successful composition. It's been an interesting discussion, I think. Have a wonderful time.